She loved her sister until jealousy consumed her. In a world where family should protect, envy betrayed, and one sister's obsession threatened to destroy them both, will love survive the darkness? The sun was sinking behind the crowded streets of Yaoundé, painting the sky with heavy gold. From the balcony of their apartment in Bastos, Amelia watched her twin sister Isabella laughing with neighbors downstairs. It was a soft, warm laughter, one that always drew people closer. Amelia hated how easily Isabella shined. Everyone said they were identical, but Amelia knew the truth. People didn't love faces. They loved light, and Isabella carried light like a blessing. Amelia carried something else. Their mother, Mrs. Dawson, called from inside. "Girls, dinner is ready." Her voice was gentle, but Amelia felt it sharpen something inside her. Every time their mother looked at Isabella, there was pride in her eyes, pride that Amelia wished belonged to her. As Isabella entered the room, her face glowing from the evening breeze, Amelia felt the sting again. Isabella had just returned from a youth entrepreneurship program where she had been praised for her intelligence and leadership. Amelia had been rejected from the same program. "Come sit," Mrs. Dawson said, placing plantain, fried fish, and hot pepper sauce on the table. She gently touched Isabella's shoulder. "I'm so proud of you." The words landed like a hot stone in Amelia's chest. Their father, Mr. Dawson, nodded. "Isabella, keep working hard. You are going far." Then he turned to Amelia. "And you should learn from your sister." The room grew colder. The shadows along the walls seemed to stretch toward Amelia as if they understood her quiet rage. She forced a smile. "I'm trying." Isabella looked at her with soft concern. "You know we can do the next program together. I'll help you." The kindness made it worse. Why couldn't Isabella be arrogant? Why couldn't she fail? Why couldn't she just once be the disappointment? Later that night, the twins lay on opposite sides of their shared room. Isabella fell asleep easily, breathing softly. Amelia stayed awake, staring at the ceiling. Every success her sister gained felt like another door closing in her own life. She whispered into the darkness, "Why her? Why not me?" A quiet wind blew through the window, rustling Isabella's hair. Even in sleep, she looked peaceful, beautiful, chosen. Amelia turned on her side, eyes burning. She thought of the program's rejection email. She thought of her father's disappointed sigh. She thought of the neighbors calling Isabella the shining star. She thought of the future where Isabella would have everything, and she nothing. A dangerous thought entered her mind. Slow, quiet, heavy. If she was gone, Amelia sat up quickly, shocked by her own mind. "No," she whispered, "I could never." But the thought did not leave. It curled itself around her heart like smoke. The following morning, Isabella woke cheerfully. Humming as she braided her hair, Amelia watched her, feeling the difference between them like a wound that wouldn't close. "Are you okay?" Isabella asked. "You look tired." Amelia smiled. "I'm fine." And she felt it, the shift. A single moment where jealousy turned into something sharper, something that wanted to breathe. Later, on her way to buy breakfast bread from a nearby shop, Amelia heard two women whispering behind her, "That girl, Isabella, is gifted." "Yes, but the other twin, she tries. Some people are just not meant to shine." The words stabbed her like small knives that evening, as the city grew quiet and Yaoundé's warm night gathered around their home. Amelia stood outside alone. She looked up at the stars, wondering why she felt born in her sister's shadow. A slow tear slid down her cheek. Not because she was hurt, but because she was afraid of the person she was becoming. Inside the house, Isabella's laughter echoed again, and for the first time, Amelia felt something break inside her. A small crack in her soul, one that would grow. The next day began with the hum of motorcycles outside and the distant call of vendors selling puff-puff. Yaoundé awoke gently, but inside Amelia's chest, something sharper was stirring. Isabella rushed into their room, excitement bright in her eyes. Mum said, "We're traveling to Abuja next month for her conference. We'll stay at Uncle Raymond's place." Amelia froze. Abuja. A new city, new people, new comparisons. Isabella twirled her hair and added, "It will be good for you too. Maybe you can reset, start fresh." Start fresh? The words felt like an insult dressed as kindness. At breakfast, Mr. Dawson spoke proudly. "Isabella, when we get to Abuja, I want you to meet one of my colleagues' sons. He's brilliant like you." The jealousy hit Amelia again. Hot, fast, unexpected. "And Amelia," her father added slowly, "you'll meet people too. Just focus more." Her mother shot him a warning look, but the damage was done. After breakfast, Isabella grabbed her bag. "Let's walk to the market. I want to get some hair beads." Amelia didn't want to go, but she nodded. Her silence lately had become too noticeable. They walked through the lively streets, the smell of roasted fish, the rhythm of traffic, the laughter of children playing football. Isabella greeted people like she carried sunshine in her pocket. Amelia followed quietly, feeling like a shadow that had learned to walk. At the market stall, Isabella chatted with the vendor, her smile bright. Amelia picked up a bead, rolling it between her fingers. A sharp thought passed through her mind again, uninvited. If she disappeared, the world would finally see me. She dropped the bead, startled by her own mind. "Amelia?" Isabella turned to her. "You look pale. Are you okay?" And this was the moment. The first time darkness offered her a choice. Amelia nodded, but fear of being seen pushed her into her first lie. "I'm fine. I just didn't sleep well." Isabella touched her arm with concern. "Then I'll cook tonight so you can rest. You need peace." Peace. The word cracked something deeper. As they walked back home, Amelia replayed the lie in her head. It had slipped out so easily, too easily, and Isabella believed it without question, because Isabella always trusted her. That trust made Amelia feel two things at once: guilt and power. That evening, Mrs. Dawson asked Amelia to help prepare dinner, but Isabella stepped in quickly. "Let her rest, Mum. She's not feeling well." Amelia watched her sister move around the kitchen with practiced grace. The smell of onions frying filled the house. Their mother smiled fondly as Isabella worked. "Such a good girl," she murmured. Amelia's chest tightened. She wanted to scream, "I could do that too, if you gave me a chance." But she stayed silent. Later that night, the twins sat on their bed again. Amelia held her pillow tightly, trying to silence her thoughts. "Amelia," Isabella said quietly, "I know something is bothering you. You can tell me. We're sisters." Amelia looked at her. In that moment, Isabella wasn't the enemy. She was simply the girl she grew up with, the one she shared clothes with, laughed with, fought with, the one who always defended her in school. A tear slipped down Amelia's cheek. Isabella reached out. "Come here." But when Amelia leaned into her sister's embrace, jealousy whispered again, cruel and soft. "She comforts you, but deep down, you know she will always be ahead of you." Amelia pulled away quickly and wiped her face. "I'm fine," she lied again. Really? Another lie. And again, Isabella believed her. Later that night, something unexpected happened. Isabella fell asleep early. Her phone buzzed, lighting up the room. Amelia glanced at it. Just a quick look. But the message shook her. Congratulations, Isabella. You've been shortlisted for the final round of the scholarship. Amelia stood, frozen. Another achievement. Another reason for everyone to praise her sister. Another weight pressing on Amelia's heart. She sat on her bed, hands trembling, her thoughts spiraled. Dark, fast, uncontrollable. When will it ever be my turn? When will I ever be enough? Her breathing grew heavy. She didn't know if she was angry at her sister or at herself for being so consumed by jealousy. She stood up, pacing the room. The night outside was silent, as if the city held its breath. Amelia turned toward Isabella's sleeping form, so peaceful, so loved. The moonlight touched Isabella gently, almost protectively, and for the first time, Amelia didn't feel guilt. She felt something worse. The belief that she deserved the life Isabella was living. That night, she whispered another lie, but this one was only to herself. I'm the one who should shine. The morning air in Yaoundé felt heavier than usual. Suitcases lined the living room, and the family moved around excitedly, preparing for their journey to Abuja. Isabella hummed softly as she zipped her bag. Amelia watched her from the doorway, a quiet storm gathering behind her eyes. Are you ready? Isabella asked brightly. Amelia nodded. She had learned to hide her feelings well. Sometimes she felt like she had become two people, the girl everyone saw, and the one only she knew. At the airport, Isabella seemed to glow, greeting strangers, smiling at children, even helping an elderly woman with her bag. People gravitated toward her like she carried her own son. Amelia walked slightly behind the family, unnoticed. On the flight, Mrs. Dawson sat beside Isabella, the two of them talking about the scholarship news. Amelia kept her eyes on the clouds outside the window. Each passing minute tightened the knot inside her. Whenever Isabella laughed, it felt like a reminder of everything Amelia was not. When the plane landed in Abuja, the warm Nigerian breeze rushed in. Their Uncle Raymond picked them up from the airport. Look at you, Isabella, Raymond exclaimed, hugging her. You're growing into a fine young woman. Then he turned to Amelia. And you too. He paused, searching for a compliment. You've become quieter. Amelia forced a smile. Another comparison. Another wound. As the car drove through Abuja's bustling streets, Jabi, Wuse, Maitama, Amelia stared at the city lights, trying to picture herself shining here, but every reflection on the window seemed to show Isabella instead of her. When they arrived at Raymond's large house, Isabella gasped. It's beautiful. The house was modern, with soft lights, wide halls, and a garden filled with hibiscus plants. Amelia looked around, imagining herself taking ownership of such a space, imagining herself living the life Isabella didn't deserve. That night, the family gathered in the living room. Isabella shared her scholarship news again, and everyone celebrated. Raymond lifted a glass to Isabella, the family's pride. A cheer erupted. Amelia felt something snap. Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet, dangerous shift inside her. Later, when the family had gone to bed, Amelia stepped into the backyard. Abuja's night air was warm, thick with the smell of flowers. She sat on a stone bench and whispered to herself, "Why is it always her?" She heard footsteps behind her. Isabella, dressed in a simple nightgown, hair loose, face soft. You left the celebration early, Isabella said. Are you upset with me? No, Amelia said quickly. Then talk to me. Isabella sat beside her. I know when you're hurting. Amelia's jaw tightened. You think you know me? Isabella's eyes widened. Amelia, you're my twin. Of course I know you. But Amelia didn't want to be known by her. Not anymore. Isabella continued, if something about the scholarship bothers you, tell me. It's not a competition. Those words cut deeper than any insult. Amelia looked at her sister, the shining one, the favored one, the blessed one, and the darkest thought yet entered her mind. If I took her place, maybe my life would finally start. A chill ran through her. She stood abruptly. I'm going to bed. Isabella caught her hand. Wait. I love you, Amelia. You know that, right? Amelia pulled her hand away. Good night. Back in their shared room, Amelia lay awake while Isabella slept peacefully beside her, just like the nights in Yaoundé. But this time, something was different. Amelia didn't just feel jealousy. She felt direction, a terrible clarity. She imagined a world where Isabella didn't exist, a world where her parents finally looked at her with pride, where her uncles celebrated her achievements, where her name, Amelia Dawson, meant something. The idea terrified her, but it also excited her. As the night deepened, Amelia whispered to the darkness, in Abuja, everything will change. The second day in Abuja began with the smell of tea and fresh akara from the kitchen. Isabella woke up humming softly, while Amelia pretended to be asleep. The sunlight filtered through the curtains, casting warm stripes across the room. Amelia, Isabella whispered, wake up. Uncle Raymond wants to take us to Jabi Lake. Amelia opened her eyes slowly, trying to push away the tight feeling in her chest. I'm coming. As they prepared, Isabella wore a bright yellow dress that made her look even more radiant. Amelia chose a simpler one. Still, in the mirror, they looked exactly the same. Same face, same features, yet Amelia felt the world would always see them differently. On the way to the lake, Isabella talked cheerfully about taking pictures, trying Nigerian food, and exploring new places. Amelia listened silently, her mind busy with its own storm. At Jabi Lake, families laughed, the breeze danced across the water, and the air smelled of fried yam and suya. The twins walked side by side, but Amelia felt like she was fading behind Isabella's glow. Then it happened. A young man, walking by, slowed down and stared at Amelia. Isabella, he called out, is that you from the scholarship program? Amelia froze. Before she could speak, Isabella turned and smiled. Oh, that's me. But the man ignored Isabella completely. He was still looking at Amelia. You look so different today, he said, but I remember you. For a moment, Amelia felt the world stand still. Someone finally mistook her for her sister, her. Not the twin people forgot, not the quiet one, not the shadow, but the shining one. And in that suspended moment, Amelia did something she never imagined she could. She smiled at the stranger. Yes, she said softly. I'm Isabella. Isabella's smile dropped instantly, confusion flickering across her face. The man shook Amelia's hand warmly. Congratulations again. You were impressive. Thank you, Amelia replied, voice steady, heart racing. The man walked off, leaving an awkward silence behind. Isabella turned to her, eyes wide. Why did you say that? Amelia's pulse quickened. I didn't think it mattered. Didn't matter, Isabella whispered. But he was talking to me. Something defensive rose inside Amelia. He looked at me. He thought I was you. Maybe, just maybe, we're not so different. Isabella stepped back. hurt written plainly on her face. "That's not like you." But Amelia felt something else, something powerful, intoxicating. For the first time, someone saw her as the successful one, the chosen one. On the drive home, Amelia sat close to the window, replaying the moment. The stranger's words echoed in her mind. "Congratulations. Impressive. Isabella." Her heart thumped with a dangerous idea. What if she could take more than just a moment? What if she could take Isabella's opportunities, her praise, her life, piece by piece? When they got home, Mrs. Dawson noticed the tension immediately. "Girls, are you all right?" Isabella forced a smile. "We're fine." But Amelia saw something new in her sister: distance, caution, fear. That night, Amelia sat alone in the guest room, staring at her reflection in the mirror. She touched her face slowly, tracing the identical features she shared with Isabella. Same eyes, same smile, same voice. "If I wanted," she whispered to the mirror, "I could be her." She wasn't sure if she meant it as a fantasy or a warning. A knock came at the door. Isabella stepped inside quietly. "Can we talk?" Amelia didn't respond. Isabella sat beside her. "I don't understand what's happening to you. You've changed." Amelia kept her eyes forward. "Have I? You pretended to be me." "I didn't pretend," Amelia said slowly. "He thought I was you. I just didn't correct him." Isabella's voice cracked. "But why?" Amelia turned to her, eyes sharper than ever. "Because sometimes I wonder what it feels like to be you." Silence. Heavy, painful silence. Isabella reached for her hand. "Amelia, you don't have to be me. I want you to shine too." But Amelia pulled her hand away again. This time, Isabella didn't try to hold on. She stood slowly. "I'm here for you, but I'm scared of losing you." Amelia's chest tightened, but she said nothing. As Isabella walked out, Amelia whispered to herself, "You already have everything. I just want something." A dark seed had been planted, stronger than jealousy now. It was the idea of becoming Isabella, not just competing with her. And once the thought grew roots inside her, Amelia realized something frightening. She no longer feared the darkness. She was beginning to embrace it. The morning sunlight poured through the windows of Raymond's house, reflecting off the polished floors. Isabella was already downstairs, humming as she checked her phone. Amelia remained in bed, pretending to be asleep a little longer than usual. Breakfast smelled of fried plantain and akara. Their mother called upstairs. "Girls, come down." Amelia delayed. She wasn't hungry. She didn't want to see Isabella glowing, praised, celebrated for achievements that seemed unattainable to Amelia. But the moment came anyway. Their mother entered the bedroom, holding Amelia's phone. "Your teacher called, Amelia. You have a message." The screen lit up with a notification from a prestigious scholarship office. "Isabella Dawson, shortlisted for the final interview." Amelia froze. Her pulse raced. She clenched the phone. Her chest tightened with both jealousy and a dangerous excitement. If they could mistake me for her, what else could I take? Downstairs, the family was bustling. Isabella laughed brightly as Uncle Raymond discussed places to visit in Abuja while Amelia followed silently. Then, in the living room, a group of guests arrived, friends of Raymond's family from the Abuja business circle. They immediately focused on Isabella. Amelia, standing beside her, noticed how quickly the attention could shift if she allowed it. A guest approached. "Is this Isabella Dawson?" Before Isabella could reply, Amelia stepped slightly forward, her voice soft but steady. "Yes, that's me." Isabella froze. The room grew quiet. Shock rippled across the guests' faces. Amelia's heart raced. She had done it. She had taken the spotlight. The guest smiled warmly. "Congratulations. I've heard about your scholarship. Very impressive." Isabella's mouth opened, then closed. Her smile faltered. Amelia felt power coursing through her veins. For the first time, she felt seen, not as the shadow, not as the quiet twin, but as the one everyone admired. Later, when the guests left, Isabella confronted her. "Amelia, why did you do that? You pretended to be me." "I just answered their question," Amelia said, shrugging. Her voice was calm, but her mind burned. "If I wanted, I could take everything from you, and they would never know the difference." Isabella's eyes filled with hurt. "You're playing a dangerous game. People trust you because you're my twin, but it's not right." Amelia looked at her sister, her pulse pounding. "Why not? It's not like the world ever noticed me anyway." Silence hung between them. Isabella stepped away, tears brimming. "I don't want to lose you, Amelia, but I'm afraid of who you're becoming." Amelia's chest tightened. She wasn't afraid. She was awakened. The rest of the day passed with normal activities, visiting Jabi Lake's nearby craft market, taking photos, tasting suya, but for Amelia, everything was a stage. Every glance from strangers, every word from family, felt like a test. How far could she go? How much could she take before the line disappeared entirely? That night, as the twins prepared for bed, Amelia felt the temptation stronger than ever. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The shadows of the room seemed to stretch toward her, whispering possibilities. If I took her place completely, would anyone notice? She imagined herself living Isabella's life, being praised, being chosen, being the golden twin. Each scenario made her heart race with an intoxicating thrill she could not resist. When Isabella dozed off, Amelia quietly left the room. Walking to the mirror in the hallway, she studied her reflection in the dim light. Same face, same hair, same voice. But what made Isabella so loved? Was it merely luck, or could Amelia claim it too? She whispered to herself softly, "I could be her. I could be everything. If I only dared." The night grew heavier. Outside, Abuja was quiet, except for distant traffic and the soft hum of a generator. Inside, Amelia's resolve solidified. Jealousy had turned into something more dangerous. Ambition fueled by envy. By morning, Amelia knew something terrifying but thrilling. The game had begun, and she would play to win. The next morning, Abuja awoke to the sounds of vendors and distant traffic. Inside Raymond's house, Amelia rose quietly, careful not to wake Isabella. Today, a business networking event had been scheduled by Raymond for his family's friends, a chance for Isabella to be celebrated again. But Amelia didn't just see an event. She saw an opportunity. Breakfast was a blur. Isabella hummed brightly, chatting with the family about outfits, cameras, and schedules. Amelia listened silently, planning. Every word, every gesture was recorded in her mind. On the drive, Amelia's pulse quickened. The car wound through Wu's bustling streets. She watched her sister greet drivers, pedestrians, even a street vendor with a smile that lit up the entire lane. Amelia's hands tightened in her lap. That could be me, she thought. That should be me. At the venue, the twins were ushered into a large hall filled with guests in traditional and modern attire. Isabella immediately became the center of attention. Conversations stopped when she entered the room. Cameras flashed. Compliments poured in. Amelia remained at the edge, pretending to adjust her bag, letting Isabella take all the notice, until a moment arrived that set her heart racing. One of Raymond's business associates, a tall man with a commanding presence, approached Isabella and spoke about the scholarship and her achievements. Amelia's pulse thumped violently. The man turned slightly, glanced at Amelia, then back to Isabella. "You two look exactly alike," he said, amused. "I almost mistook you for each other." Amelia froze. The words ignited a dangerous thought. A smile flickered across her face, a smile that wasn't meant for Isabella. She subtly moved forward, leaning slightly, just enough for the man to mistake her for Isabella. "Yes, I am Isabella," Amelia said softly, her voice steady. The man blinked in surprise, then smiled. "Well, it's good to meet the other twin. Or maybe the real Isabella?" Isabella's laughter stopped. Her eyes narrowed. Amelia felt the rush of power. The thrill of deception surged through her veins like electricity. For a moment, the room seemed to shrink, leaving just Amelia and the intoxicating feeling of control. Throughout the day, Amelia practiced small, subtle deceptions. Answering a question meant for Isabella, laughing at a joke before her sister could, agreeing to pose for a photo in her place. Each moment made her heart race. Each success made her feel more alive. But as the day ended, the consequences began to whisper. Isabella's voice was quiet, but pointed. "Amelia, why are you doing this? Why are you pretending to be me?" Amelia didn't respond immediately. She sat quietly, feeling both guilt and exhilaration. I just wanted to see what it feels like," she admitted finally. "To be seen." "By taking me away?" Isabella asked softly, hurt clear in her eyes. "You're not just taking attention. You're taking me." Amelia looked away. Maybe, I've never been allowed to shine, and I wanted to feel it. Once." Isabella didn't answer. She just looked at her twin, the soft evening light falling across her face. Later, when the twins were alone in their bedroom, Amelia lay on her bed, replaying the day over and over. Every compliment she had stolen, every glance she had redirected. It felt like a dangerous game. And Amelia realized she didn't want to stop. The thought whispered in her mind like a temptress. "The world belongs to those who take it. Why shouldn't it be mine?" She glanced at Isabella, sleeping peacefully beside her. The line between admiration, envy, and obsession blurred. What had started as jealousy was no longer simple. It was ambition, desire, and something darker taking root. Amelia whispered to herself in the darkness, "I could have everything, and she would never know." The morning sun filtered softly through the Abuja bedroom curtains. Amelia woke first, the thrill of yesterday's event still pulsing in her veins. Isabella slept beside her, peaceful and unaware, the world blissfully ignorant of the game Amelia had begun to play. Breakfast downstairs was filled with laughter. Isabella recounted her day, carefully describing her achievements to Uncle Raymond's friends via video call. Amelia remained quiet, watching, listening. But inside, her mind spun faster than any conversation. "They think Isabella did all of this, but it could have been me," she thought. Her first plan for today had been small. Respond to emails meant for Isabella. A harmless act of deception. Yet, as she read through the messages, Amelia realized the power she could wield. Invitations, congratulations, praise, all directed at her sister, could easily be redirected if she only dared. Later, as the family toured Abuja's arts district, Amelia noticed a gallery owner approaching Isabella. The woman's smile was warm and admiring. Amelia's pulse raced. A split-second decision flashed in her mind. Or, I could answer for her. The gallery owner began asking Isabella about her achievements. Amelia stepped forward subtly, her voice smooth and confident. Oh, that's me. I actually worked on that project. Isabella's eyes widened. Shock, confusion, hurt. Amelia's heart pounded. The thrill of deception was intoxicating. She felt power, not the kind that came from effort, but from simply shifting perception. People trusted her twin's identity without question. The day blurred into a series of small manipulations. A handshake here, a photo there, a quick answer meant for Isabella. Amelia seized each opportunity, her confidence growing with every unnoticed act. Yet the dangerous beauty of her game was paired with tension. Isabella began noticing discrepancies. Amelia laughing before her sister could, subtly inserting herself into conversations, moving faster than her sister expected. That evening, back at Raymond's mansion, the twins were alone in their bedroom. Isabella's voice was quiet, but filled with concern. Amelia, something is happening. You're not the sister I know anymore. You're different. You're dangerous. Amelia turned slowly, eyes glinting in the lamplight. Dangerous? Or finally alive? Isabella shook her head. This isn't the way. You can't take my life, Amelia. You have your own. Stop trying to live through me. Amelia's pulse raced. I'm not trying to live through you. I'm claiming what I deserve. Isabella's face fell. And what about me? Does anyone care about me anymore? Amelia didn't answer. Instead, she stared at the reflection of herself and Isabella in the mirror across the room. For the first time, she felt what it would mean if she erased the lines between them completely. That night, she lay awake, plotting. Every compliment Isabella had received, every recognition, every whispered praise, it could all be hers, if she acted carefully, strategically. The game was no longer just temptation. It had become purpose. She whispered to the darkness, I'll be the one everyone remembers, and no one will ever suspect it was me all along. The thought gave her a sense of control, but also a creeping unease. Deep down, a small part of her wondered how far could she go before the world or her sister noticed. Amelia had stepped into a web of lies, one that could never be undone. Every step forward strengthened her resolve, but also tightened the invisible trap around her own heart. She was addicted to the thrill, to the power, to the dangerous taste of being seen. Outside, the city of Abuja glimmered under the setting sun. Inside, two sisters shared a room, but one of them had already begun the slow, irreversible process of taking over the other's life. The morning light in Abuja was soft, almost innocent, but inside Raymond's mansion, tension lingered like a storm cloud. Amelia woke before Isabella, her mind racing, planning every move. The thrill of being Isabella had become addictive, and she could feel the point of no return approaching. At breakfast, Amelia's eyes were sharp. She watched Isabella laughing and sharing stories about yesterday's events with Uncle Raymond and their mother. Every smile, every compliment aimed at her sister, now felt like a personal challenge. Amelia's mind worked quietly, calculating. If the world believes I am Isabella, I can control what they see. I can shape it. I can take it all. When they stepped outside to the car waiting for a visit to a high-profile Abuja school, Amelia adjusted her posture, her hair, her expression, subtle changes that made her twin indistinguishable from the version everyone adored. Isabella walked beside her, radiant and unsuspecting. At the school, a scholarship event was underway. Teachers, administrators, and visiting dignitaries were present. Isabella was naturally the center of attention. Amelia, stepping carefully, allowed herself to be mistaken repeatedly for her sister. Every handshake, every congratulatory smile, every camera click heightened her heartbeat. One teacher leaned toward Amelia. "Congratulations, Isabella. Your essay on social change was remarkable." Amelia smiled softly, responding with calm confidence. "Thank you so much." Isabella's face paled. She opened her mouth to correct the mistake, but Amelia subtly cut in, guiding the conversation with grace that mirrored her sister's charm. The thrill was intoxicating. For Amelia, this was no longer a game. It was proof that she could bend reality to her will. Back in the car, Isabella was silent, tension radiating from her. "Amelia, this isn't just jealousy anymore. You're stealing my life," she whispered. Amelia's eyes were cold, yet quiet. "I'm claiming what I deserve," she said softly. At the hotel later that evening, the twins prepared for bed. Isabella stared at Amelia across the room, exhausted and defeated. "Please, don't let this go too far. I love you, but I can't watch you destroy yourself, or me." Amelia looked down, tracing the outline of her face in the mirror. "Maybe it's too late," she said, "and maybe I don't care anymore." A silence fell. Outside, Abuja's nightlights shimmered, indifferent to the moral storm inside the room. Amelia had stepped onto a path with no return. Every deception, every lie, every stolen moment of recognition had built momentum. The thrill of power now outweighed any guilt. That night, lying in bed, Amelia whispered to herself, "I'm not just the shadow anymore. I'm the one they see. And nothing, no one will stop me." In that moment, a dangerous certainty settled in her chest. Isabella, oblivious to the full extent of her sister's obsession, would soon discover the depth of Amelia's ambition. But by then, Amelia would be too far gone, trapped in the web she had spun herself. The city hummed outside, the pulse of life, opportunity, and ambition. But inside the room, one sister had become predator, and the other, unsuspecting prey. The morning in Abuja was quiet, almost serene, but inside Raymond's mansion, the air was thick with tension. Amelia woke before Isabella as usual. Her reflection in the mirror greeted her. Sharp eyes, calm exterior, but beneath the surface, a storm of desire and fear. Breakfast was subdued. Isabella sat silently, clearly aware that something was changing. She no longer laughed as freely as before, and her eyes darted nervously to Amelia. The family noticed too, but none could pinpoint the source. Amelia's pulse raced. Each compliment Isabella received felt like fuel, each glance aimed at her sister, a provocation. She had grown addicted to the power of deception, and she craved more. At school that day, Amelia acted with quiet precision. She answered questions meant for Isabella, took the lead in presentations, and subtly redirected praise toward herself. Teachers and classmates smiled and nodded, unaware of the subtle usurpation. But the more Amelia took, the more the tension in Isabella grew. During lunch, Isabella whispered, "Amelia, please, this has to stop. You're not yourself." Amelia's gaze softened momentarily. "I am myself." Finally, a shadow of fear flickered across Isabella's face. She realized her twin wasn't just jealous anymore. She was planning, calculating, and willing to act to claim everything. Back at Raymond's mansion, Amelia's deception reached a new level. Invitations, messages, and recognition intended for Isabella began to be intercepted and responded to by Amelia. Every success strengthened her thrill, but also heightened the risk. That evening, as the family gathered for dinner, Isabella tried to speak up about the situation, but Amelia preemptively diverted every topic. Uncle Raymond praised Amelia's eloquence in front of everyone, believing it was Isabella's charm. Isabella's eyes filled with hurt, confusion, and silent fear. After dinner, Amelia retreated to her bedroom. She replayed the day over and over, analyzing every interaction. The thrill of control was intoxicating, yet deep down, a tiny part of her felt the weight of guilt, a dangerous whisper that threatened to remind her of what she was losing in herself. Later that night, Isabella confronted her in the dimly lit hallway. "Amelia, you're going too far. You can't keep stealing my life like this. People will notice, and even if they don't, you're losing yourself." Amelia's face hardened. "I've never felt more myself, Isabella. For the first time, people see me as someone who matters." Isabella's voice trembled. "But at what cost? You're taking everything from me. Our parents, our uncle, everyone, and maybe yourself." Amelia's eyes flashed with both fear and exhilaration. She realized the truth. Every step she had taken made her more powerful, but the web she had woven was fragile. One misstep, and everything could collapse. She looked out the window at Abuja's glittering skyline. The city seemed alive, full of opportunity and danger. And inside her chest, a seed of recklessness had taken root. She whispered to herself, "I can't stop now. I won't. I will be the one everyone sees. No one, not even Isabella, can take that from me." Isabella retreated quietly, leaving Amelia alone with the night. But in that solitude, a question lingered. How far would Amelia go before the web of lies she had spun destroyed both sisters? The game had escalated, the stakes were higher, and the spiral of consequences had begun. The day began quietly in Abuja, but Amelia could feel the tension humming in the air like a low, dangerous chord. Her reflection in the mirror was sharper, colder than ever. She had become a master of deception, but the cost was slowly surfacing. At breakfast, Isabella avoided eye contact. Her smiles were forced. The family sensed the change, but could not articulate it. Amelia sat quietly, her mind already racing with contingency plans. They were scheduled to fly to Yaoundé later that afternoon to attend a family ceremony organized by their extended relatives. Amelia knew this trip could expose her deception if she wasn't careful. Yet the challenge excited her. On the drive to Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, Amelia subtly tested herself. She answered questions directed at Isabella, letting strangers compliment her brilliance and poise. Every reaction confirmed her control. At the airport, the family moved through customs and boarding gates. Amelia felt a thrill each time someone glanced at her, mistaking her for Isabella. She had become addicted to the affirmation, to the feeling of living as her sister. Once on board, Amelia's thoughts darkened. She realized the game could escalate further. What if she intercepted more of Isabella's life? What if she replaced her completely, at least in the eyes of the world? But there were cracks. Isabella's intuition was sharp. During the flight, she whispered quietly, almost pleading, "Amelia, please, don't let this go too far. People are starting to notice." Amelia's pulse quickened. "Notice what?" she asked lightly, masking the thrill in her voice. You Impersonating me, Isabella said, voice trembling. I feel it. Others feel it. This isn't just about attention anymore. It's dangerous. Amelia looked out the window at the clouds below, masking the conflict in her chest. Part of her craved the control. Part of her sensed the fragility of the web she had spun. Landing in Yaoundé, the twins were greeted by relatives. Amelia moved carefully, observing each glance and interaction. The family's praise flowed as expected, but Isabella's subtle disapproval became increasingly apparent. At the family gathering that evening, Amelia intercepted congratulatory words, subtly redirecting attention. Each success fueled her ambition, but the tension built. Isabella's eyes followed her, wary, hurt, and increasingly suspicious. Later, alone in the hotel room, Isabella confronted Amelia with quiet desperation. This can't continue. You're taking my life, Amelia. And one day, everyone will see. They'll know it's you. Amelia's voice was calm, almost hypnotic. Maybe, or maybe, no one will ever notice. And maybe I can finally live the life I was always meant to have. Isabella's lips trembled. But what about us? What about family? What about love? Amelia didn't answer. She only stared at her reflection in the mirror. Twin faces, identical, yet one beginning to dominate the other. The thrill of power had become irresistible. That night, as the city of Yaoundé shimmered outside the window, Amelia whispered to herself, I'm not the shadow anymore. I am the one everyone sees, and nothing, no one can stop me. But deep inside, a faint warning lingered. Even the strongest deception can crack under pressure. And Amelia was already beginning to sense the fragility of the life she had stolen. The morning in Yaoundé began humid, the city streets alive with distant chatter, market sounds, and the low hum of traffic. Inside the hotel, Amelia woke first, as usual, but today, a gnawing sense of unease stirred in her chest. Her reflection in the mirror no longer felt entirely like hers. Her eyes flickered with both power and a shadow of fear. Breakfast with the family was tense. Amelia sat poised as if nothing had changed, while Isabella's eyes darted nervously, carefully observing every interaction. The subtle tension between the twins was palpable, and even distant relatives began to sense that something was off. The family had planned a visit to a prestigious cultural center in Yaoundé, an event that would gather media attention. Isabella, radiant as ever, was the intended star, but Amelia had other plans. Every opportunity to redirect attention became a test. A compliment here, a question answered there, a handshake that should have been Isabella's. It worked. The journalists, unaware of the subtle deception, praised Amelia's eloquence. Isabella's eyes widened in shock and hurt. For Amelia, it was exhilarating, a rush of validation she had never felt before. But as the day progressed, cracks began to show. One journalist, more observant than the rest, paused and looked closely at Amelia and Isabella, frowning. "Wait, aren't you twins?" the journalist asked aloud, confusion in their voice. Amelia's pulse raced. The thrill collided with fear. She smiled, masking the panic, while Isabella's expression turned from shock to suspicion. Back at the hotel, Amelia tried to maintain composure, but the stakes were now dangerously high. Isabella confronted her privately in the hotel hallway. "Amelia, this isn't just a game anymore. People are noticing. You're risking everything. Our family, our reputation, even us." Amelia's eyes hardened. "I've never felt more alive. For the first time, people see me. I won't let that go." Isabella's voice trembled. "And what if you lose yourself in the process? What if this obsession consumes you?" Amelia paused. The thought flickered in her mind, then was replaced by the intoxicating certainty of power. Maybe I'm already beyond caring. Maybe this is who I'm meant to be." That evening, the family gathered for a cultural gala with cameras, relatives, and dignitaries present. Amelia intercepted recognition again, subtly claiming praise for accomplishments that were Isabella's. The thrill was unmatched, but the tension grew unbearable. Every glance from Isabella, every murmured whisper, reminded her of the danger she was creating. Later, alone in her room, Amelia replayed the day in her mind. Each victory had a cost. Isabella's hurt, growing suspicion, and the fragile stability of the world Amelia had built on lies. She realized that she had stepped onto a path from which there was no turning back. Yet the most dangerous thought arose: if I can do this once, what's to stop me from taking everything completely? Outside, Yaoundé shimmered under the night sky, its lights reflecting in the hotel windows. Inside, Amelia lay awake, staring at her reflection in the mirror. The duality of the twins clear, one innocent, one consumed by ambition. The reckoning was near. The morning in Yaoundé felt heavy, almost like the city itself knew a reckoning was coming. Amelia woke first. As always, her reflection in the mirror colder and more calculated than ever. Yet beneath the thrill, a subtle tremor of fear surfaced. Breakfast was tense. Isabella avoided her sister's gaze, the hurt in her eyes sharper than ever. The family sensed it too, but none could pinpoint what had shifted so drastically between the twins. That afternoon, a family ceremony was underway. The hall was grand, decorated with vibrant colors and traditional patterns. Journalists, relatives, and dignitaries were present. Amelia, poised and confident, intercepted every compliment, every camera, every moment intended for Isabella. She had become the image of success, the perfect twin everyone praised. But power can be fleeting. A perceptive relative approached, frowning slightly. "Amelia, or Isabella, I'm not sure anymore," the relative whispered, scrutinizing her behavior. The whisper spread. Journalists began murmuring, noticing subtle discrepancies. Amelia's careful control was beginning to falter. Isabella, sensing her chance, stepped forward quietly. "Everyone, I need to clarify something," she said, her voice firm but calm. Eyes turned to her. "Amelia has been living through me, but I am the one who earned these achievements." The room froze. Amelia's pulse raced. Her face, usually so calm and calculating, flickered with panic. For the first time, she felt the fragility of her web. Amelia's mind raced. She could argue, manipulate, or flee, but the truth was seeping through cracks she hadn't anticipated. Isabella's courage had brought the world to witness the deception. A moment of silence followed. Then Uncle Raymond stepped forward. "We raised 2 daughters, both capable, both brilliant, but honesty and integrity matter more than illusion." The weight of his words sank deep. Amelia felt the thrill and power drain, replaced by shame and fear. She realized that ambition and jealousy had blinded her, consuming not only her sister's life, but almost her own. Tears welled in her eyes. Isabella approached Amelia and took her hand gently. "You can still choose differently," she said softly. "It's not too late to make amends." The family gathered around. Amelia's deception had failed, but in that moment, a lesson of courage, love, and redemption emerged. The twin who had been stolen from rose above fear to reclaim her life, and the one who had been lost to jealousy had a choice: continue the spiral or return to her own identity. That night, after the ceremony, Amelia sat alone by the window, the city lights of Yaoundé reflecting across her face. She whispered quietly to herself, "I almost lost everything, but I will not be defined by envy again." In the quiet of the room, a bond between the sisters remained fragile but alive. The ordeal had tested them, pushed them to the edge, and yet, through courage and truth, the family could heal. Dear viewers, what lesson did you take away from this dramatic tale? We'd love to hear from your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.